What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the latest episode of The Layup.Line. I'm going to keep the intro short on this one, but if you're new to the channel, I post NBA related videos at least twice a week. You should absolutely subscribe if you're a fan of the NBA and check me out on most social media platforms. I'm known to follow back so you can easily interact with me there to get inside looks at upcoming videos and reactions to live games. But with the intro out the way, let's talk about Adam Silver and the NBA League office a little bit.
You know what time it is? It's about to be that time.
AP, they said I gotta come off the bench.
Sensations thinking they know the game of basketball, they would then have to admit that they don't know basketball.
If you're here on this video, I'm assuming you're a pretty die-hard NBA fan. This may just be a generalization, but I feel like most casual sports fans probably aren't sure who the commissioner of the league is. It's not super important information after all. I mean, if you can enjoy a game without knowing who the coach is, why should you have to know who the league's commissioner is? For many reasons, Adam Silver with the NBA has been different. For one, Silver took over for former Commissioner David Stern. Now, Stern recently passed last year, so I obviously don't want to say anything too disparaging about him here, because Stern was also a huge factor in growing the game globally and is an icon that many hoopers hope for the chance to one day shake his hand on draft night. But anyone familiar with Stern's tenure as the commish, they'll tell you that he was not the most well-liked guy during his run. He infamously vetoed the Chris Paul to the Lakers trade and feuded with players over the dress code. So Adam had some pretty big shoes to fill taking over in 2014, but he very quickly became more popular than Stern in my opinion. In April of the same year, there was a controversial incident with former LA Clippers owner Donald Sterling, where he was caught on tape having a disgusting and racist rant, where he also talked about how he didn't like having black people at Clippers games. Not really going to get too much into the Donald Sterling part of Silver's story because there are a lot of other chapters that I want to get to, so just to give you the spark notes on it, Donald had a long history of being racist garbage, and there had been some desire to kick him out of the league because of how bad of an owner he was. If you're interested, ESPN's Ramona Shelburne has a fantastic 30 for 30 podcast series going into detail about the Sterling stuff, but support poured in from fans and players and media members for Adam when he finally made the decision to ban Donald Sterling from the league. Since I'm going to be critical of Silver in other parts of this video, I want to really give him his props on this one. We had never really seen something like this where the commissioner bans a team owner. The NBA's league office pretty much works for the team owners, and reports show that owners were concerned about setting the precedent of just banning one of them. Pretty much even though the other owners didn't like Sterling, they also didn't want any potential leaks about them getting them banned. Adam Silver still banned Sterling after all, so he does deserve some credit. Another factor in Adam Silver's popularity is that he was commissioner when the league signed lucrative new TV deals that led to the largest cap space increase in NBA history. According to an article by Ben Golliver on Sports Illustrated, the salary cap was making a $24 million jump. The summer of free agency resulted in some huge deals being signed, and a lot of role players were overpaid. This was also huge because it meant NBA teams became a lot more valuable. 3 teams have had owners sell since this cap spike, and at the start of the season there was a stretch of time where it looked like the Timberwolves might be sold as well. Cap spike was a move that also put a lot more money in players' hands because of the newest collective bargaining agreement, and it meant that there was a 50-50 revenue split between players and owners. So a quick recap of Silver's timeline is that he pretty much comes into the league taking over for a pretty divisive commissioner. In his first couple months, he bans the worst team owner in sports, and then he gets everyone a ton of money on a new TV deal, all while building his reputation as a player-friendly commissioner. Silver has continued former Commissioner Stern's initiatives in expanding the game globally. The G League has grown significantly. He's a proponent of sports betting and relaxed regulations on marijuana testing, and he's been an advocate in players having platforms and supported their messages on social justice and mental health issues. So you're probably wondering, this sounds like a pretty great commissioner, and what did he do to make opinions begin to shift about him? Also, in fairness to Silver, he's probably still considered the best commissioner in the country, but the past couple years have been filled with controversy, and they've been the biggest challenge to Adam Silver in his near 7-year tenure. For starters, I want to start with the Masai Ujiri incident. After the Toronto Raptors won the 2019 NBA championship at Golden State in Oracle Arena, team president Masai Ujiri was rushing over to the court to celebrate with his team. However, a member of local law enforcement would racially profile and antagonize him, and this was a slap in the face to Masai on the biggest night of his career. And rather than fully support one of the few black team presidents in a moment of injustice, Adam Silver had this to say.
It's part and parcel of what comes with someone who is living on the edge a bit and is hardwired, to sort of march forward with incredible energy.
Right.
And I think lessons learned for him without assigning, culpability or blame to anyone. As a leader, those are the kinds of situations he needs to learn to avoid.
To say the least, this statement didn't sit well with fans, and it makes your social justice efforts in the media look highly performative when you back out of an actual opportunity to back up all your slogans and statements. Things would continue to go downhill when during the 2020 NBA preseason, a tweet from then Rockets GM Daryl Morey would cause an international incident. Daryl tweeted out a message in support of the protest in Hong Kong, and a tweet that led to the NBA losing a lot of money as some preseason exhibition events were supposed to be held in China, and those got canceled, TV contracts were ended, and it's actually a forgotten factor in why the revenue numbers are down for this year. Adam Silver's initial statement tried to distance the NBA from Daryl, and his statement would cause some controversy on both sides of the issue. The NBA was taking shots from their domestic government for not taking a strong enough stance, and their Chinese interests were unhappy with Morey still being employed. During a normal year, this would have been a headline hanging over the league for the entire season, if not longer, but other larger headlines have led to this being mostly forgotten. This is because in mid-March, the NBA would suspend the season after a positive coronavirus test from Rudy Gobert. We would slowly begin to learn of other positive tests around the league, and at the time it was unclear how the NBA was going to be getting through this. This is another situation where I have to stop and give Silver and the league office some credit. In hindsight, the league obviously should have suspended sooner because of the global pandemic, but they were the first major sports league to do so here in the US, and it played a major factor in other leagues shutting down as well. They also then had the most successful relaunch with no positive tests during the league Disneyland bubble run. The league did face some controversy during that time from conservatives threatening to boycott over the league's emphasis on advocating for racial justice in the country, but my biggest performative and bland statement jerseys with the pre-selected phrases on the back. It was also really lame that they didn't let Jimmy Butler stick with his idea of having no name on the jersey at all, and this was just another bullet in the chamber for everyone that dismisses their messaging as performative. The final chapter in the decline of Adams' popularity has been this 2021 NBA season. The NBA's return to play had an expedited timeline because TV partners like ESPN desperately wanted to capitalize on Christmas Day games that are usually one of the best ratings nights for the league. This was obviously less popular for fan bases that recently finished long playoff runs, and highly concerning given that there'd be no bubble and teams would be traveling for games. To start the season, most arenas weren't allowing fans, but with changes to local laws, some markets have opened up to reduced capacity. I get why the league couldn't return to a bubble. It's one thing to finish a handful of regular season games and then a playoff run, but to do an entire season and the entire playoffs, that would have taken too long. There was some consideration for other formats, but traveling for games has led to more positive test results, as well as over 20 postponed games. The league's implementation of COVID protocol has not been well received, like silly rules about no handshakes after games, and having Kevin Durant listed out due to protocol, then allowed to play in the game for around 20 full minutes before being pulled again. Things have not gone well for this year, which is why Adam has really been facing some serious criticism for the league's decision to hold an All-Star game in Atlanta this year. To start the year, the plans were to just name All-Stars, but to have a break for that week. Well, thanks to the influence of TV partners like Turner Sports, we are going to be getting an All-Star game in a city with some of the loosest COVID protocols in the country. It's a head-scratching decision that many of the league's best players have vocally expressed frustration with. I want to specifically highlight the words of Karl Anthony Towns, who has lost numerous family members to this virus, including his mother, and he has recently returned to play from his own battle with COVID-19. So this is just a snippet of a longer statement about Cat's overall recovery from corona, but I encourage you to look up the full Zoom interview for his full comments.
All-Star game, I personally don't, believe there should be an All-Star game, but what the hell do I know? Obviously, I haven't dealt with COVID, probably, right? Probably a guy that has some insight into that, but what do I know about COVID, right?
Opinions on Adam Silver were extremely high at the start of his career as commissioner. Because of his bold stance he took on the Sterling ban and his initial success with the TV deal, but since then, Silver has had a track record that includes a number of decisions that have prioritized financial stakeholders over the fans, NBA staff including players, coaches, etc. Like I said, Adam Silver is probably still the best commissioner of all three major US sports, but his popularity has been on a downward trend, so I wanted to do a video looking into why that is. That's all I have for today's video. Leave a like if you learned something new or if you like what I do. If you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe. It really helps me out, and I do appreciate you getting through to the end on this one. Comment down below and let me know what you think of Adam Silver and if your opinion of him has changed over the years. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.